What's up? Welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I am Morrow and this is Mary, and we're back with some more RPG horror stories. Mary, I got a very important question. What is a yacht? Mary, what is Skibbity?
So I'm about to do to your face.
Mary, Mary, what do they call the Rizzler? Mary, when you transform and shapeshift into a bear, are you a Rizzly bear or rar? Anyway, let's get some RPG horror stories or rar for today. DM toxic towards pregnant wife. Once was in a game with a dude and his wife, who was pregnant, along with one other player. The wife's pregnancy was extremely complicated, with her being sick almost constantly and us having to drop session quite often because of it. Us two other players were completely fine with it, but the DM seemed like he thought she was faking it after a while. On top of this, he was constantly rude to her and would talk down to her. He'd get visibly irritated whenever she seemed to be getting sick. The biggest incident I remember was one time when they kept butting into each other trying to talk. You know, like when you stop to see who's gonna go first, and then you both start at the same time. This happened like 4 or 5 times before the DM finally snapped at her and said, "Can you let me speak?" Literally everyone whipped around and stared at him. Yeah, because it's a really weird thing to do, just I don't know, we just snap it at somebody. If you want to be polite, you could be like, "Do you want to continue?" Or, "Is it okay if I finish first?"
I always finish first.
That's, I'm gonna make no commentary on that, I'm gonna continue with the story. There were other issues with the campaign, including unnaturally high DCs on some tasks and more scheduling issues on the part of other players. Eventually fizzled out, but not before we all had a falling out over the scheduling issues. It seemed like every problem he encountered, he wanted to headbutt into the sun, instead of even entertaining the idea that maybe making space for others would be a good call. I don't know, it seems like a kind of person that just kind of wants to round things up instead of keep the sails moving, so to speak. Either way,
Sounds
snapping
like
at
he's
a...
just got
Sorry, continue.
a lot of attitude.
See what I did there? See what I did there? That's just easy. It was the easiest thing to do. If, like, you know, speak over each other and stuff, especially since we are online and stuff, you know, around the other side of the world practically.
The delay.
Yeah, but like at the end of the day,
delay.
it's not that difficult to be like patient or sensible or just polite. Especially since she's pregnant, she got a lot of other stuff going on. The pregnancy is complicated and stuff. The least thing I can do is just not be a dickhead about it. Simple as that. Let's get to the next story for today, which I hear is quite raunchy. DM asked if I sold feet pics out of nowhere. Last year I played for the first time with some friends I know from college when looking for someone to DM, since neither of us had experience, and found a guy online. The campaign had, apart from DM, 5 players. Me, 3 of my friends, and a boyfriend of one of these friends. Everything started well. It was online since the DM was from another city, and the 5 of us lived in a very distant place. In one of the first sessions, the DM started saying that my voice and my appearance reminded him of an influencer, which no one found strange since another friend of mine had already said the same. But looking back now, it was already something a little strange since a few sessions later, he said she was attractive. Time passed, everyone found something a bit weird during the campaign, like his insistence on getting romantic interest for each player in the middle of the story, but no one mentioned anything. If there's something weird going on, it's probably best to not keep silent and probably say something out loud. Maybe talk among your players and stuff. Be like, "Hey, did you notice this really weird thing last weekend where the DM just constantly started talking about like getting everybody into a romantic like a thing, a menage a trois, whatever they're called? I don't know. Have you noticed something's weird?" Because at the end of the day, yeah, it could probably be brushed off as like nothing, you know, nothing serious. But you gotta look out for red flags. And if it's a red flag, you should probably address it. Be like, "Hey, DM, were you serious about the whole thing? Or was it like a haha funny?" I can't say I'm a confrontational person, but like if I find something weird, like I don't mind calling it out. But at the same time, I feel like I kind of should call it out. Especially after reading so many of these RPG horror stories, it feels like that's the norm thing to do. Just talk it out along the table, no matter how weird or cringe it is. I mean, I talk about Mary a lot, and she's pretty weird and cringe. She's looking at me, isn't she? We arrived in December last year. None of us talked to him outside of the RPG, and I never sent him a single message that was about anything else. We had the last session of the year on Tuesday, and on Wednesday he started messaging each of the players to resolve some character issues for the next campaign. Nothing strange here. DM talked to me about my character and kept insisting on finding a romantic partner for my character. Well, I said I didn't want to. The conversation was normal other than that, until at one point He asked if he could say something and asked me not to tell the other players. Gee, let's play the game. What is it gonna ask about today? Is it A, about your phone number? Is it B, about D&D? Or is it C, about the title of today's video or story? About feet. What do you think it's gonna be, Mary?
Cheese. Cheesy feet.
Cheesy feet. Why you have... she has a fetish with cheese. Anyway, let's continue. The message he sent was, do you sell feet pics or something? Dude, that's such a weird time to ask questions about that. Oh my god. You had such a good thing going. You had a campaign. You had people that you want to play with. And you really want to ruin it with that. I felt extremely uncomfortable. I panicked, past traumas here, and said no. And the conversation ended there. Nobody else said anything about the campaign, since it was Christmas and New Year's Eve, and in January I was still desperate and finally told the other players about it. We talked about it and decided obviously not to continue with the DM. We left the group chat just saying that we didn't want to play with him anymore. He just responded with, did I do something wrong? Since then I haven't played anymore and really pisses me off. The first long campaign I played ended like this, because the guy just doesn't understand basic decency. It's worth mentioning here that he followed me on Instagram and Twitter, where I never gave any indication that I was doing OnlyFans or anything like that.
A creepy butt guy, I guess.
Guy just really want feet. Yeah, he just really want feet.
What's your feet look like?
Listen, like... whatever you're into, it doesn't matter what kind of fetish you're into. If you want to look for it, there's places to go look for it. Don't just ask random people in your D&D game. It's just completely inappropriate. Entirely... I don't know what to say at this point, honestly.
Does Morrow have an OnlyFans?
I don't sell feet pics, no. But you know, we could start on Mary's hoof pics.
Whoa! Hey, don't look for free.
Hold on 1 second. We're gonna go ahead and give everybody a proper service for it. We're gonna show Mary's hoofs. That's what we're gonna do. Mary's hoof pics. Oh yeah, look at them hooves. Yeah, look at them hooves. Yeah, look at them. Mary, how do you feel? I just really literally revealed you hooves on the internet.
Being molested.
No, you're not. This is just a payment for being part of the show. You gotta you gotta do your part too. Listen, we're just earning bread together. Was that too much? Should I remove that out of the video?
No, that's fine, that's fine.
In appropriate times, it's okay to ask these sort of things. Like if you're talking to somebody that's like perfectly cool but to talk about these sort of topics and subjects and stuff, maybe. But like, there's a time and place for everything. Clearly, this wasn't a time and place. Y'all haven't talked about like any sort of fetishes or people being into feet or selling like OnlyFans stuff or anything throughout the whole campaign. Probably best just to leave it at that and just not ask weird questions, because it is inappropriate. It is extremely inappropriate. Imagine if we were just playing D&D and I'm like, I don't know, like, hey, does anybody have OnlyFans collections that you can just send me for free? It just would be weird as hell. That'd be so weird. I don't want anybody that's OnlyFans, but if I did do that, I would think that I'll also be the bad guy, because that is such an inappropriate thing to ask about.
It's surprising how many people actually do this, even like IRL, because I've seen videos of like cosplay events, and there was a guy that walked up to these two girls who were a couple, and they were cosplaying those Five Nights at Freddy's characters, and he just like blatantly was trying to hint at like asking if they had like basically didn't know who the guy was, but it was asking if they had OnlyFans, but in like a weird way, like, oh, this girl I just spoke to last had an OnlyFans and stuff like that, trying to say like, oh, I didn't ask for anything, she just told me about it, as in like wink wonk. Weird.
Yeah, I just came up out of nowhere, talked to this random imaginary girl that doesn't have a name. She told me she has her OnlyFans. I didn't even ask her for it. By the way, ladies, do you have an OnlyFans? God, that is cringe. That is cringe.
I mean, if you had one.
If you go up to do that to people, kiss a brick wall about 1,000 times, and then kiss a concrete wall about 1,000 times. Well, like full slam, full like balls deep into the wall.
Also, it's like he started stalking them as well for the rest of the trip. He had to get like security involved and everything because he was just so obsessed.
Anyway, creeps exist out there, but I'm glad y'all decided to basically bounce out and not deal with this creep. Creep? Creep.
Crip?
He's a creep, yeah.
Crip.
He's a creep.
Stay safe.
Blood.
From the Crips.
What up, Crip? He's a gangster. He's a foot gangster. Anyway, let's get to the next story for today. My first DM ever said I could only have a character with pink hair if she got addicted to drugs. Buckle up, gang. This one is a crazy one. It was my first time playing Pathfinder 1st Edition about 8 years ago or so. We're playing Iron Gods, an adventure path in a land full of crashed spaceships and desert roaming barbarians. I'd never played any TTRPG before, so I was excited to try it out. My character was a human brawler. When I showed the GM the art, she noticed that the character had a mechanical arm and pink hair. The mechanical arm was banned outright for balance reasons, though if I was a good boy I might get one later, making me take a wooden arm instead. I only wanted a cool setting appropriate prosthetic, I didn't even want cool mechanics. The pink hair wasn't feasible at all though, unless she proposed to me and another player an android, a race that is fully synthetic and have incredibly weird hair colors, that if we wanted pink hair, we'd have to drink sludge, a mutagenic spaceship fuel that can temporarily alter your character on a D100 roll. It's also highly addictive. The android succeeded the addiction save. I didn't. So what you're telling me is, in a game where you can have crashed spaceships, you can't even have pink hair unless you're addicted to spaceship fuel? In a game where magic exists? In a game where you can conjure demons and animals and all that stuff? In the game where you can have elves and other fantastical creatures, you can't have pink hair? That's what we're cutting off at? Really? My character got addicted, and that's where all the bullcrap started. I didn't really know what was and wasn't normal, so I kinda just went with it. Let's go down a list of things that happened afterwards. While seeking out a place to get more sludge, I jokingly offered to suck a shopkeeper's wee-wee. The GM graphically described my character sucking the snake-like dwarf peen and had me take bludgeoning damage. Not important, but God, bludgeoning damage? From sucking peen, bludgeoning damage? And DM actually unironically was like, yeah, you want to do that as a joke? No, it's really happening now. You're taking bludgeon damage from this snake-like pee-pee. So we can't have pink hair, but we're gonna have a dwarf snake-like pee-pee bludgeon damage you. Huh? My character rolled a result of the...
words.
Exactly. My character rolled a result on the D100 table. This temporarily gave her a split personality. I wasn't comfortable with this since I don't have dissociative identity disorder, but the GM insisted it was the rules. I went along with that, trying to at least make an interesting roleplay out of it and study my beefy girl's softer side. I had to play both characters conversing with one another for about 10 minutes once at my GM's insistence. You were forced to roleplay with yourself as two separate personalities on your character for 10 minutes because your GM insisted it. Are they just doing it for their entertainment? Just be like, yeah, go ahead and just talk to yourself for 10 minutes. We'll wait here. You know, it could be doing something more productive. Go on adventures. Talking to NPCs? No, I just want to watch you here and talk to yourself for 10 minutes. Apparently, I roleplayed too well because she surprised me with a twist. The DID was permanent because of all the drugs I was taking. Every time I woke up and went unconscious, I had to randomly select the personality I was playing. She would not allow me to play anything else. I eventually came up with this scheme. I found out the cloning machines existed in the setting, and one of the books would take us to a place called the Valley of the Brain Collectors, which I guessed was a likely place for weird mind extraction as anywhere. I decided if I couldn't get out of the DID situation by communicating with the GM out of character, I'd just do it in character, by cloning myself and putting the mind in the body so both halves of my character could live at peace. I even liked the idea of the other characters being a backup character. The GM hated my plan, started delaying sessions, and after a few weeks, leaked smut art from an 18+ not safe for work private Twitter I drew of my robot character, who the new personality was based off. As proof of me being a PDF file, the robot was 80 years old and her body was not even remotely childlike. She just acted sweet and liked cute things, and her body was built 8 years ago. We never played again, and I lost my entire friend group because of it, aside from the Android player who I'm now in civil partnership with. It's whatever. Played better games since. Whatever, at least I don't have a barely concealed hive mind and corruption king that I force into my players. Go to hell, Ruby. Hope you like an award-winning podcast. Oh my god, the last comment was personal. Last comment was completely personal. Go to hell, Ruby. bringing up all the like minor corruption kink. Jesus, whatever's going on in your games, I'm glad you're out, because good lord, that sounds like a disaster. It sounds like you went through hell trying to make the best of it, and when you decide to make a smart play, or what seems to be a smart play, instead of the game just saying no, you can't do that, I decide to what, retaliate with you posting your own character smut that you drew. I don't know what to say. I really have no idea what to say. It's just, the whole situation is just weird. But either way, you're out of it. Woo! Don't have to worry about it one bit. You can just do whatever you want now. But I mean, I'm glad you shared the story with us, because Jesus Christ, there's not a lesson to learn. It's just watch out for bad DMs. And if they ask you to do something ridiculous, like the whole drug addiction thing, just because of pink hair, tell them that you're out, that you're not gonna tolerate it. It's like, if you're gonna make me do this just because of pink hair, a simple cosmetic, a visual cosmetic, mind you, then yeah, don't play. It sounds like somebody that's not even worth playing with.
What are the comments on that? I want to see some of the comments.
Blowjob damage. That is the funniest thing from this entire story.
It's considered elemental damage. What?
It's considered elemental damage and not part of the physical BPS split. And with that, that's going to be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales Tomorrow. Bye-bye.